So here I am on working on my block party sashing. What I've done right now is I have taken off my, from my blocks, I've taken off all my little labels here. I'm going to save these. If I do another block party, I have 42 pieces of paper. So I'll just clip that together and put them away. This is Jean's Block Party 2019. And it's so funny. I'm working on the sashing, but by accident or by mistake or by, I don't know, by what, I have 42 blocks. I have 21 of each. Isn't that funny? I have 21 each of the red and white that I was using, 21 each of the red and white, and I have 21 each of the creams, the tans, and the burgundies. So now I have just pulled these random, and I've made a pile. Usually what I would do with a sampler quilt is I would lay them all out on a table, and I would rearrange and arrange them or lay them on the floor. I don't have the time or the energy right now to do that. So what I've done is I'm really going to do this random. I have 21 here, and I have 21 here. By sheer nature of the fact that this is a sampler quilt, this is going to work. So what I'm going to do is I have put, like I have 3 heart quilt blocks. Just thinking this just slightly. I have 3 heart blocks in here. As you know, we've done 3 heart blocks. So what I've done in my pile here, if you have all 42 scrappy, then just put, like, if you're doing it this way, put 1 in the bottom, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the top. So you don't have, when you go to pull your rows, they're not right next to each other. By all means, you can, I would think that most of you are going to lay them out on the floor and have it all exciting and rearranged to your heart's content. But I'm okay doing it this way. I've put these quite random. I put some of the more complicated blocks next to the more simple blocks of my red and white, and the exact same thing that I have done here. I have some more simple blocks, and then I have a bit more complicated block. So when I pull, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to, though, do tan and burgundy and red and white. Tan and burgundy, red and white, and go across my 6 blocks across, my 7 rows down. Now we are going, so I have these blocks to pull from. Now we are going to be cutting now our sashing. I am using, I'll put this away here, I am using my white and my red. Oh, this isn't the correct white. I have to get my correct white. I have a tone on tone that I've been using. Oh yeah, I have the tone on tone. Yeah, this is just a plain white. So this is my red. This is my red that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be using a sashing. The sashing is going to be my red, and my cornerstones are going to be my white. Now, if you followed along with the 2018 block party, you saw that my sashing between the blocks was white, and my cornerstones were all of the different fabrics of my block party. But I'm going to change it up. I have enough color and pattern. I just want to, this is going to be a bit more serious fun. White would be a bit more classic if I just did white in my my blocks, but I'm going to do the dark red. So now I'm going to show you the dimensions of what we are going to start cutting our sashing at. So I have sorted out my blocks that I'm going to be putting in my rows, and for right now I'm going to show you what I have done, how I have cut out my sashing, but how I have figured out how much I need. I made a little chart of my actual quilt. Now, as you know, we're having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows down. That equals 42 blocks that we have made over the last year. I have figured out, and I believe my math is pretty good, I have figured out that each one of this, I've sort of done this chart here, each one of these dark marks is a cornerstone, the little piece of fabric that goes in between. I'm going to do them on the top, on the side, and on the bottom. So I need these little dots. I counted up. I need 56 cornerstones for my quilt block, my quilt here. Now, that's my white fabric. Oh, I found it. I found it. Here it is. It's my tone-on-tone fabric. I will be cutting that out. I'll be showing you that in a minute. But what I've done is I figured out that I'm going to need all my sashing, which are these long bits, punctuating my blocks. This is a block, a block, a block, and this is my sashing going up and down and across. Now, the way we're doing this is you can make a sashing and just have your sashing here and then add a long piece with that cornerstones. Cornerstones on a quilt, really, you're working row by row. It's very difficult if you're doing a long piece of sashing. You say, oh, I just want to sew one piece of sashing on my blocks here. It's very difficult to get your blocks straight. With a cornerstone, you're just literally sewing the 9.5 inches and a 2.5 inches, 9.5, and everything is squaring up beautifully. This is going to be sewn, our sashing is going to be sewn row by row, and I'll get to that in a moment. So we have sashing, which are these points here. These are our blocks, but we're going to have a piece of sashing, which are the lines on my block, my quilt, my pattern here, or my graph here. And we are going to be needing 48 pieces going across. That's going across. And they're going to be needing 49 pieces going down all of our blocks. That means we're going to be needing 97 pieces of sashing. Now, what I have done is I have cut out already my 2.5 inch strips. I have cut out in groups of 5. So there's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 groups of 5. So I have here, when I go to cut my sashing apart, I will be cutting, here is a 2.5 inch strip, the width of the fabric. Now I have cut this the width of the fabric. When you go to sew these on, you have to be careful because this is just slightly stretchy. So you have to be careful. It's not if you cut it the length of the fabric, you would have had a little bit more stability. But I cut it the width of the fabric, so I'm just going to be very careful. This is folded in half. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm just going to be showing, well, this, I'm going to measure it with my ruler. Where's my ruler? Oh, here. I have my 9.5 inch ruler. So I'm going to go along, and my blocks are completely 9.5 inches, right? We made all of our blocks 9.5 inches. But just to visually, this is a piece folded in half, just as it comes from the manufacturer. So I'm going to just check. Ah, there you go. I can get 2 pieces of sashing, 9.5 inches there. I can get 4 pieces of sashing, 1, 2, 3, 4. From my 1 strip of fabric. Okay, now how much fabric do you need for your sashing? I just looked it up because I just pulled my fabric. I get more yardage than I already need, but I just realized that there are you can get out of 1 yard of fabric, you can get 13 2.5 inch strips. So I've cut 25 2.5 inch strips. So I will end up with approximately 100 pieces of sashing. It's 97, but we'll err on the cautious side. So I have cut 25 strips, 2.5 inches. So if 13 are in a yard, then you'd need what, 2 yards of fabric for your sashing. 2 yards of fabric, or maybe a little err on the cautious side, 2.25 yards or something for your sashing, for your quilt. Now, you know I never give measurements, but I've really tried to figure this out for myself and for you guys. So what I've done for my sashing, I have cut 25 2.5 inch strips. Okay, so I'll put that on here. So we've cut 25 2.5, oops, 2.5 inch strips for the sashing, and that's approximately, say, 2.25 yards. Okay, so that's 25 2.5 inch strips. Okay, Now what I am going to do is I'm going to now subcut my sashing strips into my 9.5 inch. See, these are all 9.5 inches. I'm going to line these up. I can do quite a few at a time. I'm going to line them up on my lovely Martelli mat because these are very precise measurements. I know that on my mat. I'm going to get out my Fiskars ruler, as you know. I can do quite a few at a time. And I'm going to cut these into 9.5 inch lengths. I will be getting 4 from my strips here. So I'm gonna, oops, put that over there. So I'm gonna line these up really well. And, excuse me, my ruler's over here. And as you know, I love my Fiskars ruler. You haven't seen me use it in a while, but here's my Fiskars ruler. It's a rotary cutter, which is hidden, and a ruler in one unit here. You can get them on Amazon. I can even do a few more because my blade cuts beautifully. Lining these all up nice and straight on my mat. That's pretty good. Let me see. Move my camera back here. Yeah. So now here's my ruler. And what I'm going to do, pull my mat down a bit. What I'm going to do with my ruler here, these are all nice and straight. I'm going to line up my edge of my ruler, right down here. I'm going to line up the edge of my ruler with a line on my mat, which is perfectly straight, so I can see I'm perfectly straight on this corner. And I'm just going to cut this fold off. And these go right off. Okay? Now, with my 9.5 inch ruler, I'm just going to lay that on there, as you know. Okay? And then I'm just going to put this over to the edge of the ruler, and as you know, this is our 2 ruler method. If you've been following the block party, you realize that I love my two ruler method. This is lovely and straight. My fabric is lovely and straight. I know it's exactly 9.5 inches. Let's check. There's my 9.5 inch piece of sashing. So we're going to end up with our sashing. I'm going to hold this. I'm pushing down, and there, oops, there is my sashing. There's a little piece there. I'll just cut that off, just a little slice. Oh, there we go. So there's my sashing. There's some pieces. And then tidy this up a little bit again. Just tidy that up because that didn't slice it. There we go. To make it nice and precise. And then I'll do the exact same thing. I'm lifting this up. This is nice and straight. I'm finding my 9.5 inches, which is just the size of the ruler. Putting that right down, making sure it's nice and square on my ruler here, on my mat, which it is. Hold that tightly. And there, that's the little bit of scrap. Put that there. There are my 9.5 inch sashing pieces, some of them. Okay, so there are my 9.5 inch sashing pieces, cut beautifully. There we go. Now I'm going to cut my cornerstones. So this block will look like this, but we're not making it into a block like that. We're doing it row by row. I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut my cornerstones. And then we're going to come back and I'll finish cutting up my strips here for all my sashing. There's quite a lot of it. And then I'll show you how I cut my cornerstones and how we actually put the sashing row by row with the cornerstones together. So I completely forgot to film this. I was cutting my white. I cut 2 miles too many. I have had to cut, remember we needed 56. We need 56 cornerstones. We need 56 of these cornerstones, okay? Now, what I've done is I've cut a whole bunch, but I just went online, I just went on Pinterest, and I was trying to figure it out. I think for your 2.5-inch squares cut from strips, you need about maybe a third of a yard. I'd get half a yard. I don't think you need that much for your cornerstones. It's not very much. You need 56 of them. I think there's like 100 million there. I just kept cutting. I completely forgot. But anyway, so now I have my 2.5-inch squares. Okay, that's what size you want to cut your cornerstones at. Right now, what I'm going to do, let me see if I can move this over here. What I'm going to do is I am literally, let me see if it's in the frame. Always on my in the frame. Yeah, there we go. So I have my tan and my cream. I have my white and my red. I'll just put that random. I'm going to do it random. I'm going to be brave, folks. And I got my little cornerstones, and I'm going to do my sashing first. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do row by row, and I'm going to do my blocks first. I'm going to do my rows first. I'm going to be brave. I'm just going to pull this, just put them like where they would go. So our blocks, our sashing, I should say, ends up 2 inches. You see that? Our sashing was cut at 2.5, but it ends up 2 inches. So I'm going to just be brave, and I'm going to make my rows. Piece of sashing. You can see it's cut exactly the same size as our block. Here's a pretty star block that I'm going to put over here. I don't have enough room. I'm coming over here. So anyway, I have to come over this way. So what I'm going to do now is what we're going to be doing. I'm going to finish up my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks, okay, with my sashing. I'm going to sew I'm going to bring this over here. See if I can show you. I got one more piece of sashing. Oops, nope, I got another block, I should say. My white and red. And I got I got my sashing over there, and I have another block. So this is making up, you can't really see it. Yeah, this is going to be making up my first row. Oh, I like it. So as you can see, I have the cream and tan, the tan and burgundy, red and white, tan and burgundy. Oops, I messed up. Oh, look at that, I messed up. I need the red and white, and then this is for our red and white people if you're doing it this way. And then I'll finish that. So I'm going to make sure this is is configured the proper way. Yeah, burgundy, 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 and then so I'm going to have 3 red and white and 3 burgundy and tan in my blocks. Now I'm going to make all my blocks right now. I'm going to make all my rows, I should say, with my block and my sashing. Now I'm not going to go on and on with this, because as sort of expert quilters right now, or beginning experts, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be creating row by row. Now here is these are our corner rows, okay? What you want to do is put you want to put a sashing on each end also, okay? Don't forget your sashing on each end. That will basically be, if you're not putting a border on, this is basically our border. So a sashing goes on the end there, and on the end there. Now, so it starts with a cornerstone on the very end, okay? So our top row of sashing and cornerstones is this. This has already been sewn, so let's get this out of the way. So now you're going to be sewing a row of sashing and cornerstones. Cornerstone and sashing. So now, as we're putting our block party together, we're doing it row by row. All right? You got, see how it's coming along? So the top is going to end up white for me, my white cornerstones. And then so we have row by row. So I'm going to finish that. I'm going to just do it visually. I'll show you. You're going to be using, obviously, 1/4 inch seam. Being very careful, because your blocks, you want your sashing to end up the same as your blocks. And if you do them corner by, 1/4 inch seam, you can see. I'm just laying this out, but look how visually it's coming along. Oh, look at that! Isn't that pretty? So right now, it's going to take me a while. I'm going to forget about my my cornerstone and sashing rows, okay? You might want to copy this little chart down for yourself, because this row here, this is a row of cornerstone and sashing, cornerstone and sashing, cornerstone and sashing, okay? And these are your sashing, okay? You might want to do that. Now it's going to take me a while to sew together my rows, my block rows. I'm going to do all 7 rows. I'm going to do all 42 blocks. I'm going to make that first. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my cornerstone and sashing units. So when I do that, I think I'm going to stop this video here as the cutting and the stitching, because it's going to take me a little while to sew all my cornerstone and sashing and to sew all my blocks. And then I'll come back and then I'll show you in the next video how we've put it together, or I have put it together, because basically you'll have these sewn together. You'll turn this right side out, right side, pretty side to pretty side, and you're going to match up these seams right here. And that's what I said. It's going to be lovely and square, because these are sewn the exact size. So each block, each sashing row to block row to sashing row to block is going to be the same, and you're going to have a lovely square quilt. So I hope my little diagram and my math, I hope it's okay. As you know, I'm not really good at math, but I think you can see visually, you people now. You have a little bit of a task in front of you, so do I. As you know, I've been busy. So I wanted to get this done for our block party people, but it's going to take me a little while because we have things coming up. But I wanted to get it on the go. And then once this is put together, either you can put a big border on it or not. You could just have a beautiful sampler quilt. It's up to you. But we'll address that when it comes to it. So here is our sashing video, folks, for our block party. So I hope you love it. All right. See ya. Bye.